Can I have one done tonight? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Tommy J. Spears. I'm here to give you some news and a word on tonight. Um, I'm gonna be talking about Israel until all the hostages being released. So, but we still have hostages. Hasman still have hostages right now. Um, so we trying to find a solution so this won't happen again. So when this war is over with, so Israel wants security envelope. No harassment on border after the war. So now Israel is looking for a solution after this war ends. So this won't happen again. So we need like more security by that border. So Israel will seek security envelope, with special zone in an arrangement that will prevent Hamas from being positioned on its border. Now after the war in Gaza is over, a citizen arrived to Prime Minister Benjamin said on Saturday. So on Friday, they reported that Israel had informed several Arab states that it wants to curb our buffer zone, on Palestine's side on Gaza border to prevent future attack, as part of a proposal for the coastal enclave after the war ends. So this is a good solution to have after the war ends, so this won't happen again. So the people can be protected, and so we won't have this problem again. So by having security envelope, and buffer zone, so they would never again allow terrorists to cross the border and butcher our people again. So there are still hostages in Haman possession. So we have to hold on and pray that God will have them delivered safely. So it's good that we find a solution of protection so that this will not happen again. So one, I request that security envelope, it's a good idea to have built-in security system to monitor whoever enter. And two, also buffer zone. It's good to have in place to separate the two other areas that will prevent fighting or harm coming their way, or the area where the people live. So it's good to have both in place, the security envelope and the buffer zone. So this war is still going on. It's still going on. And he was delivering the hostages little by little. And then something, conflict came up again, and the war is still going on. So at some point, both Israel and Hamas have to come with an agreement, to the end of this conflict, so this war can come to an end. At some point they got to come to some kind of agreement, with this conflict that's going on right now. So I also have an update what I spoke on yesterday by the immigrant, by the border, expanding lawful pathway enforcement. So when the CDC, Center for Disease Control, Title 42 public, that one had ended. So we enforcing Title 8 immigrant authority to expedite the process and remove individuals who arrive at the United States border unlawful and do not have a legal basis to stay. Just the problem we're trying to do. We're trying to prevent any unlawful immigrant that try to come through, because everyone come through have to be legal. So enforce our immigration law under Title A, is expected to reduce the numbers, of repeated borders crossing over time, which increase significantly under the Title 42 public health order. So the following official United States government research provide accurate information on how our immigration system works, and how we are expanding lawful pathway, coupled, coupled with insights enforcement to reduce the immigrant for ensure safety. So early in here, management of our border and our immigration system, we need to expand legal pathway, border. For we using Title A. We're using Title A right now. And so the pathway has to be legal because we had a while ago, we had immigrants who was coming across illegal. And you have to realize when you come across illegal, you have to come to another state. You have to be legal to come to another state. You'll need paperwork and everything to apply, but you need to apply for once you enter another state. So one, living arrangement for assignment. You have to seek available space in the state before you enter. Please don't go unannounced, because you'll be there just homeless, laying around like you did before until they try to find you somewhere. So try to seek assignment over the phone. See, you can do it over the phone. Make sure you try to get available space before you get on the bus to enter that state. Now, two, make sure you're all legal before crossing the border. Meaning, have all your paperwork and make sure it's updated. Make sure you have your ID card and your green card. So please don't leave unaccompanied alone at the border. We had that issue. Don't leave no accompanied alone on the border. So Title 8 will be a legal pad at the border. Just make sure you have your information and make sure everything is updated. Because the same information you need to cross the border is the same information you're going to need when you enter a state. So that's the immigrant at the border, legal pad at the border. I just have a word for you tonight. It's going to be kind of long. Shall my son is restored to life? Or shall my woman's son will restore to life? Now I can do it all by myself. Just her title. She can do it all by herself. That's what we think. Because she got mad because she prayed to God for a son. And years in the past, she have not received it. So she lost all hope. And she didn't want to pray no more. And she figured, I can do it all by myself. So 2 Kings 4:37. So one day Elijah had went to Simon and to do a woman that was there, who urged him to stay for a meal. And so wherever he came by, he stopped there to eat. When she invited him, it's time you're in the neighborhood. You come get you some needs. So every time he stopped by, he around that area, he'll stop by her. So this woman perceived Elijah as a holy man of God. And see, sometimes they can pick and sense, who you are. So she said to her husband, I know that this man who often come our way is a holy man of God. So the semi-owned woman realized that Elijah was a man of God, so she prepared a room for him to use whenever, he was in town. So that was nice for her to treat him like that, because that's the way you're supposed to treat the man of God. So let's make a small room on the roof and put a bed in there, put a table in there, in a chair, a lamp, and then he can stay there whenever he come to us. Now, this is a place where we separate from the rest of the house. And he got to separate from the house because he way up down the roof. Now, the house that he might more convenient give himself, to study and pray. So one day when Elijah had came, he went up to his room and he laid down there. Now, he laid there all night, in which no doubt was frequently repeated by him. Now, he accepted the kindness of his host. Now, he laid down. Now he thinking about how nice she been to him. So now he thinking about what I could do for her, because since she being nice to me. Now he said to his servant, call to somebody, so you can call her. And she stood before him. So Elijah had went and sent by God to call her, and she came. So he trying to find ways what he can do for her, since she being nice. So Elijah had said to him, tell her that you have gone to all this trouble for us, and now what can I do for you? Can we speak on your behalf, to the king or to the commander of the army? Now she replied, I have a home among my own people. Now she is the woman. I could do it all by myself. She don't like nobody to do nothing for her. She got it. So Elijah looking to do do something nice for her, since she being a good host. So Elijah noticed how nice and kind she is. Not to him and his crew. Now she wants to know what is to be done. Now she answered, I do well among my own people. Now what can be done for her? Elijah had asked his servants. He said she has no son. Remember, he had the servant to go check everything out. So he came back. He said she have no son. And her husband is old. So the woman didn't want to take anything from Elijah. So he had sent his servant there, to look around and see what she lacking. And she has stated that she have no children and her husband is old. So now God sees what needs even when we don't ask. So God already see what you need even when you don't ask. So God will give her a miracle. Now she ain't gonna want the baby, because she already married with God, that she had prayed for a baby and he never had respond to her. So then Elijah had said, called her so she could call, and he called and she stood in the doorway. So the semi-owned woman is now summoned into the presence of the prophet himself. So about this time next year, now she paid for a baby. Now Elijah tell him, I talked to God, and he about to tell her, the miracle about to be given to her. So Elijah said, by this time next year, you will hold a son in your arms. No, my Lord, that she heard you try to stop her. No, my Lord, she object. Please, man of God, don't mislead your servants. Because she prayed. She lost all hope. So many years had passed when she prayed to God for a baby. So Elijah said, by this time next year, you will be holding your baby in your arms. She said, no, don't get my hopes up. No, don't get my hopes. Don't mislead me. So when Elijah had told her that she was conceived, she thought he was lying. She thought he was lying. She thought he was playing. She said, don't get my hopes up. But the woman became pregnant. In the next year, about this time, she gave birth to a son, just as Elijah had told her. So God always have a plan for our problem when we see God took care of this widow, or this woman. Now she lost all hope. She lost all hope of having any children, especially that her husband is old. Her husband old, he don't have no concern of anything no more. So when we reach the end of our rope, there is help and there is hope. When we think there's no more hope, that we lost all hope. We think that is it. And sometimes we could go through so much and we live as is normal. We just take that in, because so many years in the past. So many years in the past, and we think this is it. We lost all hope. This is it. And so the child had grew. She had the baby, and the child grew. And one day he had went out to his father, who was with the reaper. He was out there in the yard. So now this is the son that she didn't ask for. She didn't ask for. That's just like Solomon had prayed for knowledge and discernment and all this kind of stuff, and God still give him wealth, money, and everything what he did not ask for. Because sometimes if we don't pray all the time for material stuff, then God will give it to us. But he don't want us to always pray for material stuff. So now this is a son that she didn't ask for, but receive him through the miracle. Now the child is grew and went out to his father. And remember, the father is old. So that was a miracle that God gave her. Now he said to his father, my head, my head. His father had told the servant, carry him to his mother. Now, when a child tell you, my head, that's a serious part of your body. You got to take that serious. You got to take that child to the hospital. Now her father, her husband is so old that he don't have no interest in anything. Now the child coming in and saying, my head, go take him to his mother. Not even trying to figure out how bad if he hurt. So the child complained that his head, it may be sunstroke or pain to the head, but the father took it lightly and said, take him to his mother. One trying to figure out the situation or not, just take him to his mother. So after the servant had lifted him up and carried him to his mother, the boy sat on her lap until noon, and then he died. And that's a hard thing for a child to be sitting on your lap and then he died. A child she didn't ask for, but she asked for a child years ago. So now she disturbed. Now she gonna be married with Elijah. Then I told you I didn't want no child. She was happy as long as he was alive and playing and he was well. But now since he's dead, she putting the blame on Elijah. So there is now there is the sudden death. The sudden death. And that's a horrible death because the baby sit on her lap and then he died. So there was a sudden death of a miracle child. There was a miracle child that she did not ask for. A miracle child suffered from a major headache. And y'all have to realize, headache is very important. So if your child tell you my head is hurting, you got to grab that child, bring that child to the hospital. So she had went up and she laid him on the bed of the man of God, and then shut the door and went out. Now she had wished, to keep to that secret. That's why she went in and shut the door. And she thought at once, go to Elijah, and she had put the dead boy into the prophet chamberlain, perhaps with the thought that she would bring Elijah back with her. And then he will find the child at once. So she had called her husband. He don't have no concern. He don't have no interest in the way. The child said, my head. Oh, take the child to the mother. So now the husband had said, please send me one of the servants. He keeps sending the servant to do stuff. So the servant and the donkey, so I can go to the man of God quickly and return. Now she had confidence of God's goodness, that she was ready to believe that he will restore what he had now taken away. So a woman of greater faith, that she knows that Elijah is the man of God, can help. Now she want her husband to go to Elijah. And he ain't gonna want to go. He don't have no interest at all. And she want to go to Elijah because she said, it's a baby that God give and that God take it away. So now she want to go to Elijah for Elijah to have her son to be restored back to life. So why? So she asking her husband to go. Why go to him today? Now she trying to get the child to restore back to life. Now he said, why go to him today? Now he asked, it's not the new moon or the sunset. This is all right, she said. She said, it's all right, go. So now when the son first got ill about his head, and they brought him to her husband first, and he stated, bring him to his mother. Not concerned at all. So now she had told her husband to go to Elijah, but he stated, why go to him today? It seemed like her husband is not interested at all. Not at all. I don't know, because of his age, but she saddled, she got on the donkey, and she said to her servant, lead on, and don't slow down unless I tell you to. So she about to burn rubber, and see, one about a woman, when it comes down to her children, that woman gonna do everything she can, to try to save that child. Try to bring that child back to life. See what she can do, to help this child. A woman can always do that. I don't know if her husband, because his age, that he is not interested at all. You know, so now, when the son first had got sick, he brought it to the father. He said, bring him to his mother. So now she told her husband to go to Elijah, but he stated, why go to him today? It seemed like her husband is not interested at all. And she got no donkey. She left, to go to the man of God. Now she on her donkey and set in motion. Don't stop but proceed forward. She burning rubber on that donkey. Now she had set out, and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. And when he saw her in the distance, the man of God had said to her servant, look, that is the semi-God, that semi-woman. So you remember, he went to her, then he left. So she set out and came to the man of God, and when he saw her in the distance, the man of God said to the servant, look, that is the woman. Now she ran to meet her, he ran to meet her and asked her, are you all right? Is your husband all right? Now he concerned, is your child is all right? Everything is all right, she said. So remember, I don't know why she said that, because you're running to him because your son is dead. But she's saying everything is all right. So remember, she told her husband to go to Elijah, but he was not interested. So she went to meet Elijah to tell her the case of the prophet himself. So when she reached the man of God, at the hill, she took hold of his feet, and came over to push her away, alone. Now she is in a bitter distress, but the Lord had hidden it from me and has not told me why. And a lot of times, God not going to give you the full blueprint. He'll just tell his prophet, look, I need you to go here. I need you to go there. He'll give you part of it. I need you to go by this woman's house and help her. But he not going to give you the full blueprint. Now, he said, God didn't tell me that. And God not going to tell you everything. You're gonna learn stuff piece by piece. So when she met the man of God, he noticed that she was bitter, she was distressed. That's what any woman is. Your child, is dead. And he has said, let her alone. Don't disturb her. For this is a sign of some extraordinary gift. So the Lord hid it from him and not told him. So Elijah saying that God had sent him over there, but he did not tell him that the child gonna die. And he know it's from God that did this. When God do something like this, he trying to do a miracle. So remember early on, Elijah's servant had noticed that she did not have no son. Elijah called on God, but the woman said she don't want no kid. Remember early on, she told her, I don't want a kid. I don't want a kid. For years she had prayed. She prayed to God. She didn't want no kids, and she prayed to God. Nothing. She prayed for children, and nothing happened, and she lost all hope. Elijah still prayed to God and give her that son. But now her son dead, and she told Elijah that she didn't want no son. First she was satisfied with it, long as the son was alive. Soon as the son died, she like, I don't think so. I don't want none. So now she blamed Elijah since the child is dead. Elijah has said, tuck your coat into your belt, take my staff, in your hand, and run. Now he telling the servants to go do this miracle, and nobody but him supposed to do this miracle. Now don't greet anyone that you meet, and if anyone greets you, do not answer. Lay my staff on the boy's face. Now he telling the lady staff. He telling somebody else to go over there and do it. Lay his staff on the boy's face, and now Elijah is about to represent God's power. But the child mother said, "As surely as the Lord live, and as you live, I will not leave you." So he got up and he followed her. Now he followed her, influenced by her, importance and sense of favor. Now he had received from her, and more especially by the Spirit of God. Now his servant had went on ahead, laid a staff on the boy's face, but there was no sound. Remember I said he can't send the servant over there to do this. He's supposed to do this. So our rappers all respond. So the servant had went back to meet Elijah and told him the boy has no awakening. Because he wasn't the one supposed to do it. Elijah was the one supposed to do it. Now he laid a staff on the boy's face, but he had not awakening. So Elijah was at fault in supposing that he could transfer the spirit and the power of the prophet to his servant. You can't do that. I talked about that like 6-7 months ago. That was with I forgot who that was. But we cannot take our power or our gift and transfer it to our servant or to someone. We cannot give our power and say, "Look, I need you to go do a miracle and this and that." God give each and every one of us different powers. So we can't take our power, our gift, and to tell somebody to go do something. When God placed a gift in us, it's specifically for us to use. So the prophet, his servant, he the servant that was not supposed to be the one to use the power without the divine power. And see, when Elijah and the one do the miracle, they pray to God. He didn't pray to God. He just did whatever Elijah had told him to do, lay the staff on the boy, and it did not work. So when Elijah had reached the house, there was the boy lying dead on his couch. So Elijah entered the house, and the boy was lying dead. So he went in and shut the door on the two of them and prayed to the Lord. So you got to pray to God before you do a miracle. And by he just a servant and he don't know, he proceeded wrong. So he went in and he shut the door. Now himself and a dead child, that nobody may come in and interrupt them. A prayer. Because see, he got to do a good prayer, for the restore of life. None should see the motion and the use in the process that he himself, and pray unto the Lord that he will restore the child to life. So Elijah gonna restore the boy. Elijah gonna restore the child back to life. Then he got on the bed. Lay on the boy, did mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hand to hand, and as he stretched himself out to him, the boy's body grew warm. The body grew warm. So Elijah had went step by step. Teaching his servant to understand, and he had to have faith. And he cannot have doubt. So Elijah had turned away and walked back and forward in the room, and then got in the bed and stretched out, once more time. And the boy sneezed 7 times, and then he opened his eyes. So Elijah had cried unto God in faith, and the beloved son will restore a life. So Elijah summoned the servant, and said, "Call this woman." And he did. And when she came, he said, "Take your son." Now he said, "Take your son. Take your son." So Elijah had prayed. He prayed, raising the dead boy and show God personal care for hurting people, and we must express genuine concern for others as we carry God's message to them. So as we doing our message, we go in the world and we talking to each one. And you remember Elijah was concerned for this one. He was concerned for this one, and that's what it's saying. When God sent us on a project to do, we have to have concern for others. Elijah had concern when he was carrying out God's message. Now we see that Elijah had concern for this woman. Only then will we faithfully represent our compassionate Father in heaven. And see, that's what God wants us to represent Him in being kind in love. So she had came in, she fell at his feet, and she bowed to the ground, and then she took her son and she went out. Now she at his feet, in token of her deep gratitude. And this is what she saw before. Now she will give away, to the natural feeling of joy over her restoring of the child. Now the birth, death, and restoration of the son of the wealthy semi woman, testifies to her this decision action in a crisis in the power of God. Now, midday through Elijah miracle, working prophet who succeed Elijah. So that's the story on Elijah. It is somehow woman. She didn't want to, she prayed for a child, and God did not give it to her. So she got mad, like she lost all hope. She just stopped praying. She just stopped doing everything. And so God had, excuse me, God knows that she have not been praying. God also know that she don't have any kids. So he automatically sent Elijah over there. He didn't get Elijah the full blueprint what he sending him over there for, but he sent her over there. And Elijah searched around, saw that she ain't had no kids, and she had said that I prayed for him. He ain't giving up, so I lost all hope. I lost all hope of trying to have children, and then she said, so Elijah said, by this time, you will have a baby, and so she finally had this child, and he died. That was all part of God's plan. It just showed the miracle and the power, and restored the boy back to life. It wasn't time for him to, it wasn't time for him to die. God was just showing example to her. So that's all. And we also talk about immigrants, the border, the lawful border, the pathway for the border. You can't. You have to have all your information. You can't cross over illegal. So we need to expand legal pathway border by using Title 8. So that's all the word and the news I have for you today. Y'all have a blessed and safe night. Oh, I'm sorry. And we also had to talk about Israel. Israel trying to come up with a solution so this won't happen again. So when this war is over with, they don't want this to happen again. So they came up with security envelope and buffer zone. And so we're gonna see how that work. And y'all have a blessed night, and I'll see y'all on the next video.